Hello students, welcome back to Academic English. Today we'll learn a poem written by Shirley Tolson which is titled A Photograph. Now in this particular poem, the poet talks to us about a photograph of her mother which was taken during her mother's childhood days when she went for a sea holiday. And as the poet looks at the picture or the photograph, she remembers her mother and she becomes very happy. And later on, we can see that the poet becomes sad also. Why? We will see. Now, the poem is very short and clear, but it has got deep meanings too. Now, let's move into the poem. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she the big girl, some 12 years or so. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. The poet is talking about a particular photograph of her mother which was taken during one of the sea holidays on which her mother went. And her mother was not alone when she went on this sea holiday. She was accompanied by her two girl cousins, and that is evident from the photograph. The poet says, the cardboard shows me how it was. Now, cardboard here means the photograph which is pasted on a cardboard sheet. Now here you can see in this particular picture, this photograph is pasted on a cardboard piece. So just like that, the photograph about which the poet is talking is also pasted on a cardboard piece. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling. Paddling means to walk bare feet or without wearing any shoes or sandals, to walk bare feet in shallow water. So, the poet's mother, along with her two girl cousins, the two girl cousins of her mother, they went together on a sea holiday and they went paddling. They were walking bare feet in the shallow waters of the sea. Each one holding one of my mother's hand. Each one means the two girls' cousins were standing on either sides of her mother. That means her mother was standing in the middle and the two girl cousins were standing either sides of her mother and they were holding her mother's hands. And she the big girl, some 12 years or so, and the poet is telling that my mother is the big girl. That means she is the elder one, and she is assuming that the poet is assuming that her mother is 12 years or so when the photograph was taken. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. So who is taking the photograph? It is their uncle who is taking the photograph, and all three girls in the photograph, they are standing still. They stood still without any movement. So they are all ready for the photograph to be taken. All three stood still to smile through their hair. Now, how can you smile through your hair? Smile through your hair means they are standing at the beach and obviously there will be wind blowing. So, the wind is blowing their hair and the hair has scattered upon their face, and it appears to the poet as if her mother and the two girl cousins are smiling through their hair. Right. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. Here the poet is making an observation regarding the appearance of her mother in the photograph, and she says, a sweet face, my mother's. See, sweet face of her mother. So this, in this particular photograph that was taken during her childhood days, her mother's childhood days, her mother has a very sweet face. So her mother had a very sweet smiling face during her childhood days. That was before I was born. I here means the poet herself, and the poet was obviously not born at the time when the photograph was taken. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. So sea here stands as a symbol of the nature, the all-powerful immortal nature, which will never perish. It is it will not change even after time passes. So now, after so many years, the sea, which is a symbol of nature, stands evergreen. It didn't perish. It is standing just like that. It has not changed much. But what happened to others? Wash their terribly transient feet. So here, terribly means very badly. Transient means something that lasts only for a short period of time. Okay, so transient feet means the footprints that are left by her mother and her two girl cousins on the beach. Okay, so as they were walking through the beach, on the beach, they left some footprints on the beach, and it was washed away by the waves from the sea. And that is the surface meaning of this particular line. It has got a deep meaning too. The deep meaning is that the sea, which is the symbol of all powerful immortal nature, which never perishes, has washed away the terribly transient feet. That means transient feet here means human beings themselves. It stands as a symbol of human beings themselves who die after time passes very fast. So the sea in the picture, now also it is remaining the same, but the girls, including her mother, they have all died as years have passed. Wash their terribly transient feet. Now her mother is no more. The poet is giving a hint that her mother is no more. Some 20, 30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. Now, the poet is recollecting certain uh, moments that she got to spend with her mother in the good old days. And she's telling some 20, 30 years later, 20, 30 years later means some 20, 30 years after this particular photograph was taken, she would laugh at the snapshot. She here means her mother. Her mother used to laugh at the snapshot, and she used to say, snapshot here means photograph, and her mother used to look at the snapshot after 20, 30 years, and she used to say, what did she say? See Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. So her mother used to look at the photograph and she used to tell, laughing out aloud, she used to tell, see Betty and Dolly. Betty and Dolly are her two girl cousins, along with whom she went on this sea holiday. And look how they dressed us for the beach. So she used to laugh at the funny way in which their parents dressed them for the beach holiday. The sea holiday was her past, mine is her laughter, both wry with the labored ease of lows. The sea holiday was her past. Her means the poet's mother's past. That means the sea holiday belonged to the past life of her mother, and her mother had lost it. Mine is her laughter. And what has the poet lost? The poet has lost her mother's laughter. Why? Because she will not be getting to see her mother laughing. Why? Because her mother is no more. Both Rai here means to feel disappointed. Both the poet and her mother, Rai, feel disappointed. The poet and her mother felt disappointed with the labored ease of loss. Laboring here means if you achieve something with a lot of effort, It needs a lot of effort to achieve certain things. So needing a lot of effort, that is what laboring means. So both the poet and her mother felt disappointed, and they are laboring, they are trying very hard to overcome the loss. So as time has passed so fast, okay, as time passed so fast without any difficulty, easily, with ease, ease means without difficulty or effort, the time has moved forward, and the poet has lost her mother because she is no more, and her mother lost her past life which she used to enjoy a lot, and without difficulty this loss happened in their life, and both of them tried to overcome this disappointment that they are facing. Now, she has been dead as many years as that girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. It is silence, silences. The poet is continuing here and she's telling, now she's been dead. She's been dead means her mother has died when nearly as many years as that girl lived. So that girl here means the girl in the picture, her mother. Okay, so that girl in the picture, she lived for almost 12 years or so, and just before 12 years or so, her mother died. Okay, so she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived, and of this circumstance means situation, and of this circumstance means of the situation or the circumstance where the poet lost her mother. Okay, about the situation in which she lost her mother, there is nothing to say at all. There is nothing much to say. I can't talk anymore. That is what the poet is telling. So when I remember the time when I lost my mother, I cannot talk anything more about it. I cannot tell anything about that particular circumstance or situation in which my mother was dead. Okay, so I don't want to remember it at all. So it's silence. Silence, as the poet is telling. I would rather prefer to be silent and not talk about the situation. Now, if we look at the rhyme scheme of the poem, it doesn't have a rhyme scheme. It doesn't have a proper rhyme scheme, and it comes under the category of free verse. Okay, and free verse is a poetry that doesn't rhyme or have a regular rhythm. It doesn't have a rhyme. So, such piece of poems are called uh, um, free verse. Now, let us have a look at the poetic devices that are used in this particular poem. So the first poetic device used is alliteration. So alliteration is a repetition of usually initial consonant sounds in two or more neighboring words or syllables. So if we consider this part, we can see that these consonant sounds, that is m sound, okay, my mother's, okay, m sound is getting repeated. That's a consonant sound in neighboring words that is getting repeated, so there is alliteration. And again we can see alliteration here in this part also. uh, s sound is getting repeated, still and smile. Okay, again here also the and the, through, there. Okay, so the sound is getting repeated there, so there is alliteration there. And here towards the end, terribly transient, t sound. Okay, the consonant sound t is getting repeated, so again there is alliteration. Here you have another poetic device used by the poet, that is oxymoron. And now what is an oxymoron? It's a figure of speech that has two contradictory or opposite ideas appearing side by side. So here, uh, as I explained also, I told you that laboring means something that you achieve after so much of struggling. So that has a particular meaning, and this particular word ease, okay, so something that you can get easily without any difficulty. So now these two words are contradictory, because laboring means struggling with, after having so much of effort, if you get something. So ease means if something like you can acquire very easily. So these are contradictory, these two have contradictory meanings, but still they are put together. Okay, so such a usage is called oxymoron. Okay. So students, I just want to leave an open question to you all. There is the use of alliteration here in this particular part of the poem also. If you could find out, please mention it in the comment section below. Thank you all.